You're listening to the Kitchen Confession Podcast with Chef Mary Mamalidi.
Macarons, they were like the death of me. Even now, it's just in the summer and it's super humid, forget it, I can't do it. They're so delicate, if you get distracted for 1 second and you beat those egg whites too long, you're screwed. It's only once I started making macarons that I realized why they're so expensive, because they have to allocate the cost for what they threw out.
That's Shaini Saravanamuthu. She's a fellow bean counter, baker, and public speaker for the Federation Fighting Blindness. Shaini, thank you for coming and talking with us today. And why don't we start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Perfect. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I'm super excited. So my name is Shaini and I'm 29 and I'm from Montreal. I'm an accountant. That's what I do full time, but a lot of people don't really know that I'm also legally blind. I suffer from a rare disease called retinitis pigmentosa, which has pretty much taken my nighttime vision and my peripheral vision. So I pretty much work with tunnel vision and don't really have much depth perception. So a lot of people just see me as a regular person. I go about my day as a regular person, and yeah, that's what I do. And I also bake on the side, which is kind of funny and ironic, I guess. Some of my clients either come to me knowing that I'm a blind baker. Some don't know till, they pick up their cake order and I just kind of say like, hey, by the way, I hope you don't mind that a blind person made your stuff. So it's not something I hide, but like some people just don't know it, right? So that's that. And and I'm from the South Asian community also. So there's a little tricky stuff about me being South Asian and me opening up about my story, but now it's full out and on there, and I couldn't be happier that I've opened up about my story.
Why did you find it difficult to open up about your condition?
In the South Asian community, it's like this huge stigma and so much pressure for a girl to be perfect. And in our community, basically as a daughter, a woman, you're basically growing up to be this perfect girl that a guy will marry. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of like we grow up just for that one reason, to get married. So
it's considered a flaw.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, and it's kind of like, oh, if you're not perfect, how are you going to take care of my son? It's that pressure of being perfect. So you get chosen in a sense by someone to marry, and it's unfortunate that that's the one thing that so I guess I was 21, and in the South Asian community that's prime time to get married. And
really?
I was done. I was done school. I was in my field. So the next thing my parents were thinking oh yeah, if you have a boyfriend or something, let us know, because you need to get married. And then I got diagnosed, and then it was kind of okay, it's not an obvious thing. And I know my parents are doing it to protect me. And I myself wasn't ready to share this information with anyone either. So I was okay, yeah, we don't need to tell anyone. And it was in 2014 of August that I decided okay, enough is enough. I couldn't do it anymore because my vision was getting worse. That meant it was getting harder to hide. At one point I was talking to one of my friends, and she had actually just got diagnosed with cancer. So we were talking about how disease and everything in our community is so taboo, and people hide it, especially when we're women, because we don't want to seem less perfect. We were saying if we don't talk about it, no one's ever going to know anything. It's just going to be something that no one ever talks about, and God knows who else is going through something like this. I knew there were so many people I had to address it to, so I was how do I do this? So I wrote my story and I got it published through an online website called Tamil Culture. Even the morning that the story was being published, I almost emailed them saying don't do it, because I was so nervous of all the what ifs in my head.
Oh my gosh. Did your parents know you were doing this, or no one knew?
No one knew, not even my parents. And I think I really should have told my parents this, because I didn't realize how far this was going to go, of who was going to read all this and how far and well received it was going to be. And so I was at work. It got released at 10 a.m., but I was at the office that day. And I remember during lunch, I looked at my phone and I had so many messages, missed calls, notifications. And I was I can't deal with this right now. And then the people from the online magazine, they had called me and said, Shaini, are you seeing what we're seeing? It's good. They're just go on and check. To me, it was okay, all these fears I had were just in my head. And to look back that I hid it for like 4 years, at that point, 4 years hiding it and like ruining my inner self with all these fears in my own head for what? Because I thought this was going to happen. And then to find out that everyone like basically supported me, like my dance team were shocked, like my clients were like, what, you should have told us, I would have totally advertised you like this, you know, like stuff like that. And it's just to know like, okay, like we ourselves can sometimes ruin things for ourselves with fear. That article of me opened up so many doors for me that if I look back now, like if I hadn't opened up, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you today.
That's amazing. I mean, is that how you connected with the Foundation Fighting Blindness?
Yeah, so exactly. So they saw my article and they were like, hey, so you have RP, and like we saw, because somehow the article got posted on Huffington Post and they caught it from there. So they saw it there and she was like, we need you. You know, we're planning to start this new program where people like you, like young adults, need a place to come, like be with others who are visually impaired. For me, I didn't know anyone else that was visually impaired at all.
Right.
So I went down to Toronto and it was the most overwhelming but most amazing experience I ever had in my life. So it was the first time I was around other non-sighted people like that were around my age.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a guide dog or anything, even at that point. So I walked in and I saw other people with guide dogs, other people with their white canes. And to me, at first it was like, oh my God, so this is where I'm going to end up. But then we all started talking, we're talking about things. And I'm just like, you know what? Even if I get there, I'll be fine. It was so great for everyone to share our story because we all come from different backgrounds, we're different ages, we all have different eye diseases. And even if we do have the same eye disease, it was so different.
Yeah.
I got to learn so much. I got to meet so many amazing people. And like, I got to meet parents with younger children who were there because they wanted to get like a step, like they wanted to look further ahead and see how it would be for their children.
Mm-hmm.
And it was honestly an amazing experience. And I've been with the Foundation Fighting Blindness since then. And I'm actually working on our next summit. This year we're going to Vancouver, so I get to meet more people and like help more people on the other side of the country.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we're also going to Halifax. It's so amazing to be around other people who are like us because we get to share experiences and we get to vent and make blind jokes that no one else understands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great thing to be around other people, and like, you know, it's great to have that balance of sighted friends and non-sighted friends, you know.
So I like to play a couple of games.
Okay.
And the first one's this or that.
The choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Phone call or text?
Oh, phone call.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Work hard or play hard?
Oh, play hard.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Burger or hot dog?
Oh, burger.
Popcorn or chips?
Popcorn.
Android or iOS?
iOS.
Me too. I'm such an Apple girl.
I don't understand how Android works.
Yeah.
Too complicated. But the camera's great, but I don't know how to work the phone.
Salty or sweet?
Selfie?
Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Truth or dare?
Truth.
What? I'm always the dare.
Yeah, no, I'm always truth. I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
See, that'll explain. There's something wrong with me. So, you bake and you started your own business.
Yes. It's called Cakes and Shines.
What was it that gave you the itch to bake?
Well, I've always baked as a child. Like every time I have a birthday, my mom's like, okay, we need to bake so you can bring stuff to your class, like classmates, you know, like, you know, we're big on like when it's our birthday, we have to treat people.
Yeah.
So we always, my mom and I would always bake together, and we'd always do like the simple, like, you know, icing from Betty Crocker, and I kind of just grew up doing that. And then after I got diagnosed, like I wasn't really doing much. My parents were kind of scared, like they were like, oh, it's night, like maybe you shouldn't go out much. And I was myself didn't really want to get out much, so I was home a lot. And I was like, oh, let me like further my baking beyond my Betty Crocker days, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I started baking and I started watching YouTube tutorials, and I had so much time on my hands that I just tried everything and anything. I would go to like Bulk Barn and like buy fondant and like cookie cutters and fondant cutters, and I just like started experimenting. So I started posting stuff on my personal Facebook. And people were like, and then my people that were connected to me on Facebook would message me like, hey, can you make me a cake? And I was like, you want me to make a cake? And they're like, yeah, just make this cake, try. But I'm like, so in the beginning it was just like, I wasn't charging. I was still new, I was still learning, and I started doing friends and family. And then in 2012 or 13, I opened up a Facebook page. Funny enough, like I used to make like I used to do wedding cakes, I used to do all that, and sweet tables. But like with my vision getting a little worse now, I find like I don't do as much cakes anymore. It's just because it's more detailed and it's taking me a lot longer, and it's not fair for me to charge more because obviously I'm taking more time. So I kind of don't do as much cakes now and solely just focus on sweet tables. And I kind of like sweet tables more because it's more personalized, it's more fun, and like I can do like cute little cupcakes, cookies, and stuff like that. So that's what I'm kind of having more fun with right now.
So when you do these sweet tables, do they come pick it up or do you go set it up for them?
So either they come pick it up, or I love my family. They're like, my mom used to bake when she was younger, so she kind of always sneaks into the kitchen while I do these things.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So she always helps, and my sister's a big help too. My sister's a creative person also. So sometimes it's like a family thing. Like we all go and set up together.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, they'll come and then you'll see like I'll be setting up and you'll see my dad taking pictures of the cake and stuff. It's cute. It's like honestly, like I'm super, super grateful for my family.
That's so cute. Cakes and Shines, and you've got your whole team with you.
Yeah.
The Cakes and Shines team.
Yes. But all this because I had been diagnosed with RP and I didn't know what to do with myself, and I literally turned the frustration and all that stuff. It was like therapeutic for me to like bake a cake and decorate, and like making fondant like accents was just like, you know, putting on music and just sitting there, and like my way of like dealing with it in a weird way. So baking was like my therapy.
Yeah, not weird at all, because I say that every single day. Honestly, because it's just somewhere where you can be you.
Yeah.
And the kitchen is forgiving.
It is.
The kitchen
but
doesn't...
the cleaning is not forgiving.
It's not. But there's no judgment there. You can work on your own, at your own pace. Yeah. You don't need someone to guide you along. If you don't feel comfortable doing something, don't do it. Do something else. And that's what I love about the kitchen, is because it's so versatile. It's such a space where you can be yourself. And that's it. There's no one else that can do anything to make you feel anything other than you in a kitchen. And I love hearing that that's what baking did for you.
It's funny because people used to be like, you bake when you're stressed. I'm like, yeah. It's like, especially when you're trying something for the first time, you're like, okay, let me just kind of go into the kitchen and just kind of see what happens. Like, you know, like, oh, let me just throw this ingredient and this flavor and like try this out, or let me try this new technique and see how it works for me. And especially being a little like not being fully sighted, you have to find ways that work for you. Like the tutorial is going to tell you one thing, but you kind of have to adapt it so it works for you.
Right. So what have you done to switch up things with your baking, so this way it can work for you rather than against you? Because I know some things I do, they can work against you in the kitchen.
Oh yeah. So like I think for me, like things have to be like a lot bigger and like more colorful. Like black works if it's like against like a white background. The inside of the drawer is white, then I can do with black. But like inside cupboards where it's dark, I really can't do with the color black. Like I need color just so I can see stuff. Things have to be placed where they're placed because I work off of memory. My memory is my best friend. So, and I still live at home. So that can be a little tricky because we still share the kitchen. So like, you know, if you put something somewhere and someone uses it, but then like, it's not their fault because they don't work the same way that I work. If it's not back in the same spot and I go to reach for it and that's not there, I'm like, oh my God, and I freak out.
Yeah, it's kind of like that saying, everything has a place and there's a place for everything. And the reason why we do that is because we don't have to go searching for it after. It's like finding Waldo, right? It's like, where the hell did my measuring cup go?
Exactly. It's like, I don't want to have to look for it. And I know this sounds funny, but like when you're not fully sighted, you don't want to look more than you have to look.
Because it takes us a lot longer to look.
Oh my God, yes. And like sometimes you have to like literally take a step back so you can find something.
It's so true. When something falls on the floor, isn't it like, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah,
you got to step all the way back out of the room.
Yeah, literally. I step out of the kitchen. I'm like, where did you fall? Like, where did you go? And it's like, and especially if you didn't hear it fall, you're like, oh, you couldn't even track down where it fell.
Exactly.
Like, I think it fell somewhere. And sometimes it ends up in the dining room and you're like, oh, like really? So like, Yeah, so like there's little things that you have to make it work for yourself, and like I think that's the key. I think even if like you're not studying anything in life, find a way that it works for you, because we are all made in a different way. We all function in different ways. So like tutorials and like cookie cutter ways of things are a great way to start, and then you just kind of shift and make things work to your own pace. And I think that that's what's helped me. Like even when like look, I'm sure you do this too. Like when you find a recipe, the first time we'll kind of go with the recipe because it's probably the first time we make it. Then afterwards, you kind of go, okay, I've done this. Okay, this I didn't like, or maybe I'll change it. And you kind of change it to your preference.
I'm Mary Mamalidi, and you're listening to the Kitchen Confession Podcast. Today, I'm talking with Shaini Saravanamuthu, a baker and public speaker. You're Sri Lankan, correct?
Yes, Sri Lankan Tamil.
I want to learn how to cook your cuisine. Tell me, where do I start? What do I do? What are some of the traditional dishes?
It's so funny because like when we always ask our parents, like, teach us how to cook. Okay, our parents are like, they never had like a recipe book or anything, right? So like they cook, and it's like my mom would cook and she'll be like, okay, so you just add a little bit of this, and then you add a little bit. I'm like, how much is a little? She goes, I don't know, you just feel and just kind of put it in there. And then like she'll go back to step number 4 without even realizing and add more, because she's like, oh, you need more turmeric, you need more ginger. And I'm like, okay, but how, like, you know, like, so it's like, it was hard to like figure out how to do it. I'm still not a pro at it. You obviously compare it to your mom's cooking, you're like, it does not taste the same.
Yeah.
Our food is there's a lot of heat in our food. So there's a lot of spices. It's a lot of like, I literally put ginger, turmeric, and garlic in a lot of things. We're very big on turmeric, which I'm kind of happy about because turmeric has so many benefits and it's literally hidden in our food.
Even the ginger, the garlic, it's so healthy. It's so good.
Yeah. So obviously we have our curry powder. We have our spices. A lot of things are fried. It's too bad, but now like after like our like obviously my parents are older, so they're like, okay, we can't really be frying everything. So now I bought them like an air fryer, so we kind of cheat in the system and we use the air fryer.
How do you like it? Do you like the air fryer?
Oh my god, I've had it. I think mine's actually gonna die, so I need to go buy it again. But I've had it for I think about 5 years now. It's amazing. Honestly, like you put your meats in there and it fries and it comes out crispy. There's no oil. You can put a pound of potatoes and put like not even a tablespoon of oil and it comes out crispy. Like a lot of the meats fry with their own fat, so it's good. Like you could put vegetables, you do everything in there.
Okay, so share with me. What's name one traditional dish you have?
For lunch every day is pretty much rice. Okay, if we could eat rice every day, we would eat rice every day. And then my mom will make a curry, a protein curry. So usually there's meat. On days where we're vegetarian, she'll do either tofu or she'll just have like chickpeas, stuff like that. So it's a base like that. And then there's like vegetarian options that we have also that my mom kind of makes. And then she'll have like a salad of some sort to go with the food, and it's crazy because like they just cook with whatever's in the kitchen. No recipe, no nothing. Whatever works goes together. Sometimes she'll have like lentils and like something else mixed in there, like ladyfingers, like, and make a curry out of it. And we're like, okay, never thought that would be possible. Like,
no,
whatever
they get
works.
pantry inspiration is what I call it.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a mixture. It's very colorful. It's very healthy, minus the frying part. Like, so my mom doesn't fry as much anymore, but so you get your vegetables, you get your grains, and you get your meat. And it's funny because my parents sometimes don't have portion control, so I'm like, that's a lot of rice, but like they're used to that. I still have a lot to learn when it comes to South Asian cuisine because we grew up only eating like Sri Lankan Tamil food. So when we got older, my mom was like, oh, why don't you girls like 2 days out of the week make like Western food so like they can try it and we can have the foods that we want to eat. So we kind of grew up like learning how to make other food because my mom was like, I'll take care of the brown food, you girls try it, and like so they can get introduced to stuff. So now my mom knows how to make her like shepherd's pie. She can make pasta. She'll make like, so she's learning because like we made stuff and we're like, oh, this is how you do it and stuff. So like my mom always says like once you learn how to make one curry like properly, just substitute it for another meat or another veggie and like change things around. She goes, it's quite simple once you get the feel for it and know that this is how it's supposed to be, and kind of just like trust yourself with that you're putting the right amount of stuff because there's no like recipe or measurement to go by.
Do you have a signature dish that you prepare or like to prepare? I'm
like old school and I like making shepherd's pie. Like it's like
so good.
Yeah, because it's so easy to make, but like it's so filling, and I add my brown spices and stuff to the meat.
Okay, so tell me, what do you do? What spices are you adding?
I'm adding like turmeric, ginger. I add masala powder. I add like everything just to give it some heat, you know. And like, yeah, and just to like, cause like those
So
are spices,
good.
so spices that like we kind of like grew up using, and there's familiar tastes too. And it's kind of just easier to grab. Like we have like a huge container of it, so it's like, okay, this will make it better. Like, you know, a little bit of this, you know, and you kind of just experiment.
Was there a recipe that actually took you the longest to perfect?
Oh, macarons.
Macarons.
Oh, they were like the death of me. Honestly, even now, like some days, if it's in the summer and it's super humid, forget it. I can't do it. It's just, they're so delicate.
Mm-hmm.
If you get distracted for 1 second and you beat those egg whites too long, you're screwed.
That's it. You got to start over. It's so true.
And then sometimes you think you got it down pat, you start putting them onto the mat, and then you realize, nope, this isn't gonna rise. It's one of those things, and it's only once I started making macaroons that I realized why they're so expensive, because they have to allocate the cost for what they threw out.
It's true.
It's because you can never.
It's so true.
You can never get a perfect batch. It's one of those things. Like, I love them, but I also hate them.
Okay, we're gonna go to rapid fire. First one. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I
Where
can't
would you
drive.
go?
I would travel the world, and especially
Oh, because you can't drive. That's
Right?
smart.
And I'm
Smart.
like, yeah, I would just go anywhere I want, and I can travel anywhere I want. So yeah, teleportation. I always say it. Teleportation or flying. One of those not thing. Just because I can't drive.
All right. If your fridge could talk, what would be the one word it would use to describe your snack choices?
You're gonna have a sugar problem. Yeah, tell me. The amount of desserts that go into that fridge.
Okay, name 5 foods you always keep in your fridge or in your pantry.
There's always raspberries. There's always spinach, chicken. I always have rice cake.
Mm-hmm.
And natural crunchy peanut butter.
Nice. Favorite snack?
Caramel popcorn.
Weirdest dish you've made?
Oh, the first time I tried to make pesto pasta salad did not turn out great. It just looked weird. Like, it just too green, and people were like,
it's
what
too green.
No.
So it's that time where I ask all my guests to share a kitchen confession with us.
Well, I made a cake. The cake came out perfect. Everything was great. I started stacking it. I was about to do, and I iced it. Everything was great. Started doing the fondant, and I don't know if it was the weather. It was really hot that day. I don't think we had our AC in or whatever. The fondant started bubbling.
No.
And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? And the cake started sweating, and I was like, oh my God, I'm hot. The cake is hot. What is happening? It was, oh my God, I think I started crying. I didn't know what to do.
No.
Yeah, and like, once you rip the fondant off, the icing comes off, the cake is not as smooth anymore. So you got to go back. You got to do it again.
Well, at least you got topping for ice cream.
Yes. It was just like, I was like, oh my God, that's the first time I found out that cakes sweat. And I was like, oh my God,
like beads of sweat on it?
And I was like, look, because you see the fondant, like you see that it's like sweating, and you're like, what is happening? And you see it like bubbling, and you're like, oh my God, this is not happening to me right now. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. That was. You could ask my parents. I started crying. I was like, what is happening? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Lessons learned. Thank God your clients don't watch us while we bake.
So if our listeners want to reach out to you, follow you, find you, ask any questions, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, and my handle is shines_with RP.
Thank you so much for coming on and speaking with me, talking to me. You are a gem. I had so much fun.
Oh, God, me too. I had so much fun.
It's that time. We've reached the end of another show. Be sure to visit kitchenconfession.com for more recipes and foodie finds. I'd like to thank producer and editor Matt Agnew, and I'm Mary Mamalidi. See you at the next episode.